You could have the looks, you could have the body, you could even have money. But without this skill, life will keep humbling you until there's nothing left to humble. There is a reason some men rise when everything around them falls apart. A reason why some handle heartbreak, failure, and chaos and come back stronger, while others collapse on a text message left unread. Most self-help content will tell you to work hard, stay disciplined, and be confident. But here is the truth. None of that matters if you can't master this one skill. It's not even taught in school. Your father probably never mentioned it. And by the time most men figure it out, they've already lost the job, the girl, the opportunity, or even worse, themselves. What if you learn this now? You'll move through life with something most men never feel: inner power. Let me tell you what it is and why it's already shaping your future. The skill is emotional discipline, not emotional suppression. Not being a cold, stoic rock with no feelings, but true emotional discipline. The ability to recognize, process, and respond instead of reacting. And before you click off thinking this sounds soft, let me tell you something. Have you ever said something with anger and regretted it for months? Have you ever ghosted someone you cared about because you didn't know how to talk about what you felt? Have you ever walked away from an opportunity because it didn't feel right, but deep down you were just scared instead? That is what lack of emotional discipline looks like. It's invincible, but it controls everything. Let me tell you a story about a guy I knew. Let's call him Adrian. Adrian was talented, athletic, tall. He had options, but he had one pattern. Every time something went wrong, he'd disappear. Didn't answer messages, burnt bridges, made excuses. He told himself that he needed space, but the truth, he couldn't handle discomfort. He couldn't sit with shame. Couldn't admit when he was wrong. At 29, he was still in the same city, living the same story, blaming the same people. Not because he lacked potential, but he lacked the ability to control his emotions. Here's a truth that most men don't want to hear. Your emotional habits are more responsible for your results than your worth ethic. It's not your discipline, it's not your productivity. It's how you feel in those quiet moments when you're just alone with yourself. What you do when absolutely no one is watching. How you act when you feel threatened, insecure, jealous, lonely, you name it. That's where you either win or waste years. Think about it. The guy that goes to that girl he liked because he didn't want to get hurt. That's not logic. That's straight up fear. The guy that over-explains himself to everyone. That's not humility. That's guilt. The guy that straight up lashes out when someone questions him. That's not confidence. That's shame, wearing a leather jacket. And the more you let those emotions drive the car, the more you crash into the same wall, just with different people. A few years ago, I had the chance to pitch a creative idea to a brand I really admired. It was my moment. But right before the meeting, my chest got tight and I felt really small. I almost backed out, and that's when I realized I wasn't afraid of failure. I was afraid of being seen trying and still failing, of looking weak, exposed. So I took a deep breath in and I sat with it for a while and walked in anyway. And you know what? It didn't go perfectly, but I grew 10 years in that 1 hour because I didn't let my emotions drive the car. Here's the shift I want you to take. Emotions are signals, not stop signs. They're data, not your destiny. Feeling anxious doesn't mean you're not ready. Feeling insecure doesn't mean you're not enough. And feeling fear doesn't mean you should run. Sometimes it means that you're finally on the edge of real growth. Honestly, I get it. You've been taught to push emotions down, or worse, to perform them, cry for attention, stay angry to feel powerful, ghost people to feel in control. But none of that is strength. Strength is the ability to feel the storm, but not letting it dictate your next move. And that skill, emotional discipline, it doesn't come from reading quotes. It comes from practice, from facing the hard conversations instead of ignoring it, from choosing to breathe instead of lashing out, from being honest about how you feel, not for pity, but for clarity. Here is something wild. Most of the world run on men who never learned this. That's why companies are full of passive-aggressive middle managers. Why relationships die with no closure. Why some men wake up at 45 wondering what the hell happened. Because no one taught them how to feel and still move forward. So if you're hearing this right now, you're ahead of 99% of people. Start paying attention to how you react. Not just the big moments, the small ones. When someone interrupts you, when you're feeling ignored, when plans change, and when you fail. That's your training ground. That's where you build emotional muscle. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to train yourself. You already have everything inside you to win. But until you master this skill, until you stop being owned by your emotions, you'll keep repeating the same lessons, disguised as new problems. So the next time you feel that wave coming, the anger, the shame, the fear, pause, observe, and then choose. That's how you lead. That's how you grow. And that's how you break the loop. Because the man who controls his emotions controls his destiny.